Hi friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Juan. I'm a yarn addict, hence the name Juan the Yarn Addict, and I want to thank each and every one of you guys for stopping by to check out my video today. This is a yarn and crochet channel where we talk about all things yarn and all things crochet, so if that interests you, please sit back and enjoy this video, because today, my friends, I offer you what I am calling a whip and rip. So part of the video is going to be my traditional whipping it with Juan. So I am going to bring a project over, I'm going to work on it, we're going to become crochet buddies while I talk to you guys about all the things, and then at some point I'm going to put the project down and I'm going to pick up a UFO, which is also known as an unfinished object, and I'm going to pull it apart. I'm going to rip it apart and I'm going to talk to you guys about all the things around that project and what plans I might have with the yarn afterwards. So if that is of interest to you, please hang around, watch the video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'm going to re-angle the camera and we're going to get the whipping it with Juan part of this video started. I'll be right back. Okay friends, so I think I have the camera angled perfectly. So for today, I am going to be working up my birthday blanket. We're going to continue on this journey. Now I started this in July and I worked on it all month long, but because I had so much on the hook in July and August, so here we are in September and it's still not done, but that's okay. I'm enjoying the journey. Anyway, the yarn here is Red Heart with Love in the colorway Fruit Punch. I'll show you the skein in just a second. And for the solid here, it is Loops and Thread Soft Classic in the colorway Charcoal. So just a little bit of charcoal to break up all that variegated yarn, and yeah, super nice. Now I'm using a 6.5 millimeter crochet hook because the Red Heart with Love has a hook recommendation of a 6.5. So yeah, I knew that if I was going to work this up with a 6.5 and I wanted to put a solid with it, I'd have to pick a thicker 4-weight yarn, which Loops and Thread Soft Classic is a thicker 4-weight yarn, so this works out perfectly. So as far as size is concerned, I'm literally just going to continue going until I run out. Now, friends, family, me, we all work together to find all this yarn. So I have plenty. I can't wait to get it all done. I'm curious to know how big this blanket is going to be. I have a feeling it's going to be a huge blanket. So I'm super excited. Anyway, let me jump around to where I left off at, which I think is on the side here. So I'm on the third round, and to be perfectly honest with you, I have no rhyme or reason. I'm not trying to, control how this flows. I just go until I decide I need to change it, Now I know that, it would make sense with some projects to make sure you have even amount of rows, but certain projects like this one, sometimes random is good. The variegated yarn is very unpredictable in terms of where the colors will fall. So because I'm using this gray as just a way to break up all the variegated yarn, it's turning out very nice. I love it. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure how many rounds of this gray I'm going to put on. But after all of the rounds of the Fruit Punch there, I had a lot of rounds here. It's actually quite nice to work up the gray. It gives us a little bit of a break, So this here is a no-brainer project for me. There's no thinking to it. Autopilot comes to mind. How many of you guys love autopilot projects? I know for me, I have to have at least one on the hook. One go-to autopilot project that I can jump on when my brain starts to feel like it needs a break. Because a lot of the projects that I have on the hook require counting or, close attention to detail, So it's actually quite nice to get that break. So I jump on these and I just feel better, that sense of balance, Now I do know that we have people out there that only like to work on one project at a time, and I love that for them. Honestly, it takes discipline to say nothing else until this is done, But unfortunately, I can't be that person. I have to let the creativity flow and share on the channel. I have to have things to show the viewers. So, yeah, I'm okay with it. So I've knocked out quite a bit lately with, whips and things. So I'm making headway. Now, the most I've ever had was 42 whips, and that was recently. Um, so I went through everything I had in the house, and I piled everything into 3 piles. So the first pile was my UFOs. The ones I knew, they're off to the side. I have no intentions on finishing them, so there they sit. Then I had a middle pile of whips that could potentially be UFOs. That's going to be a separate video in itself, where we go through that pile, we discuss the projects, and then I guess on the fly I'll make a decision. Are we going to proceed forward, or are we going to put it into the delete pile? So, like today, our Rippin' It session is going to be a part of that delete pile. So, these projects, I'm telling you, are just ones that I have no interest in continuing for one reason or another, and we'll get into that conversation later. But yeah, so I'm super excited that I'm introducing this to my channel, because I have a feeling that there are a lot of people out there that have a pile of something somewhere, of projects that they just change their mind on. Like, you have no interest, you just don't want to go any further with it. You're like, I'm done with that. So what do you do with the yarn? It can't sit there forever. I mean, sure, you can throw it in the trash, but why waste the yarn if you can figure out another purpose for it? So I'm super excited to share that with you guys. So with this project here, like I said, I started in July, I think July 1st or 2nd. Not exactly sure of the exact date, but beginning of July. And the original goal was for me to finish this by my birthday. That did not happen, obviously. But I had to give myself grace, because I had a lot of projects going at the same time, and I wanted to be Superman, and I wanted to do all the things all at once. And the reality is I only have 2 hands, like everyone else, So I did the best I could, and then when my birthday week came along, I said, I'm not going to finish this, but I'll make this a long-term project. I want this to be the best that I can make it without rushing it. So I'm giving it the appropriate amount of time that it needs, And I feel very strongly, like, for everyone out there who has whips and things and they don't get them done on time, give yourself grace. It is perfectly okay. You don't have to rush to have something done, especially if it's for yourself or if it's for the house. Sit it to the side until you have the time to work on it, and you'll get to it. As long as you're still passionate about it and you're excited about the project and you want to continue going forward with it, I say go for it. Just take your time with it. Revisit it when you can. It's no big deal. So this project here, I am very passionate about. It's one of my most favorite yarns. I mean, what's not to like about it? It looks like a piece of art. It's so good. The red, the orange, the green, the blue. It's perfect. I wish that, it wasn't a discontinued yarn, because I probably would have purchased more to do different projects with this yarn in, But it is what it is, and that's okay. I'm grateful that between me, my friends, my family, we all pulled together to get this yarn. So I originally thought that I had 21 skeins of these yarns here. So like I mentioned, it's 180 yards, I believe I said. 180 yards. So I thought I had 21, but I wound up with more. So as it turned out, I had somewhere in the realm of 24 or 25 skeins, which is fine because I am doing the moss stitch in the rectangle. It's all single crochet chain one, single crochet. And for a single crochet blanket, I'm probably going to need every bit of it, and if I have any left over, I'm probably going to make like matching pillowcases, for accent pillows and things. Actually, pillowcases or accent pillows, but I'm probably leaning towards accent pillows While this is soft, I would just prefer to have my standard pillowcases. Yeah, accent pillows would probably be nice with this. So we'll see. Now, when I do my accent pillows, I get my pillows on clearance. Like wherever I can find clearance accent pillows, that's where I buy them. And recently Walmart had accent pillows on clearance, and I think they were $3 a pillow, or even $2.50, $2.50 a pillow. So I bought a bunch and threw them up in the attic. And you know, if I have yarn left over, I will use maybe 2 of those pillows up there, depending on how much yarn I have. And of course, I'll make sure to include this charcoal colorway. I believe I have just 1 or 2 bins. Underneath these anniversary cakes, I have 2 bins of this charcoal color. It goes with everything. That's why I have such a large section of grays and blacks. Like altogether, I have 6 cubbies between the grays and the blacks, and I have 3 cubbies of the white. So you see 2 of them there, and then underneath these 2 is another cubby, and I believe it's Aran, so it's like an off-white. It goes with all the colors, so that's why I needed a lot of it. But yeah, when there's deals and steals to be had, you have to stock up. You have to, because like for instance, Big Twist normally I believe is $4.49 for 1 skein, and right now, as of the date of this video, which is September the 15th, they're on sale for less than $3 a skein. So 2 something. You know, why pay $4.49 when you can get it for 2 something? You know, so like the mug says, life is short, buy the yarn. So, and then of course it has my name on the back, just to remind myself what my name is. Or to remind others, like, hey, don't touch this mug, it's Juan's. In either case, it's what's on the inside that matters. And it's amazing coffee. It's my usual Dunkin' Donuts hazelnut coffee with caramel macchiato creamer. It's all the things. It's just my go-to. Now, I do have other coffees in the kitchen. I do have several different kinds, actually. But I just find myself continuing on with this Dunkin' Donuts. I don't know why. I love it. It's just so good. Anyway, this blanket is big enough now where it's not as quick to complete a round, you know? And I would imagine that it's just uphill from here. You know, the rounds are going to get longer. I may have to, you know, record multiple sessions before sections are completed. But that's why I have multiple WIPs. So when I come on here and I do these sessions, I don't have the same project each and every time, you know? Just to keep it interesting for myself. So, there's that. Anyway, my knitting is going quite well. Now, I was warned and I was told from the beginning that, you know, knitting does take longer. The instant gratification of a completed project isn't as fast as it is with crochet. But, you know, I'm like, it's fine. I'll be fine, you know. So now I'm at the point where the rows are getting longer, and it's like, okay, so when am I going to get to the next portion of this skein, like the next colorway portion? So if you're not aware, do I have a skein around? No, I have this one here. So I have the actual knit whip right here. So I'm using this yarn here for my scarf, and it's a Linus scarf, and it's Sunset Beach Red Heart Super Saver Bitty stripes. So good. But now, like, the stripes are longer, it's taking forever to get to the other end, and I knew that, you know. So I have an appreciation for what I'm doing, but I can definitely get to the end of a side in crochet quicker than I can knitting. Now, I'm not a continental knitter, I am an English style knitter, so I throw my yarn, and I think I'm okay at it. I'm not looking to increase my speed as much as I want to make sure that I'm accurate. You know, I feel like as long as I focus on accuracy, the speed will come eventually. And so, yeah, I'm just enjoying it for the sake of enjoying it, you know. But I do have other yarns that, you know, they're waiting to be worked up with the needles. So far, I have two. So I have Loops and Threads Heathered Tweed in Black Rainbow. I can't wait to put that on the hook. And then I have earth yarns that I purchased from a local yarn shop that I'm excited to get on the needles. So, one thing at a time, you know. I could crochet the earth yarns, but I'm just super curious to know, you know, what that's going to look like on my needles. Now, I've seen other people do it. You know, they have these yarns from local yarn shops and they're working them up on their circular needles, but I just want to experience that for myself for the first time. So, we shall see. Now, I will tell you, friends, that I still am continuing to find myself having to save the data as we go, you know. Now, I purchased the camera, I purchased the equipment. I know I said this several times, and I've even shown the bag of equipment, which is sitting right here next to me. But in the midst of cleaning this room, I have seemed to misplace my camera. So it's in here or in the squirrel's nest. It's in one of these two rooms. So once I locate it, I'm just going to open it up and get started. Like, I have been pausing because I wanted to make sure that I had the time to play around with all the functions so I knew what I was doing, but it looks like time is not on my side. So I have to continue to pause because the software that I'm using is just not okay with holding big batches of files at one time. So sometimes it'll save but it won't upload, and the only way to actually clear the screen is to delete it. So yeah, last night I recorded a tutorial and I went to go and move it and it deleted. The only way I could leave the screen is, you know, the delete option. It was devastating. So anyway, I need to turn that camera on, so I feel like a weight will be lifted off my chest once I get that camera on, because I don't have to worry about pausing and all the things. I can do one straight fell swoop of a video and then go in there and edit it and do what I need. So it's a learning thing, you know. We'll get there, or I will. I'll get there. So as I mentioned, I don't know how many rounds of this I'm going to do, because if I go ahead and jump right onto the variegated again, a round of 3 really isn't that thick. So this was 2, 1, 2, this was 4. So this one was 2, this one was 4, and I'm currently on 3. I may decide to just do 5. I don't know. We'll see. You know, I'm riding the wave until it's time for me to get off that wave. So I know it sounds like I'm being indecisive, but I really just want to just enjoy this, you know. When I get to the end, if I feel like changing it, I'll change it. If not, we're going to continue going until I feel it's time to change it. So there's that, you know. So let me go ahead and pause us. I'll be right back in like 2 seconds. Okay, and so I am back. All right. So what do you know? I am back at the beginning already. So let me go ahead and go into the first stitch, slip, chain 1 and flip. Slip and flip. Okay. It's almost at that point where it's like too big to function, but not yet. I would imagine it's going to get a lot larger than this, and that's fine. I love that for us. So I think I asked this already, but just in case, what is on your hook? What are you guys working on? I'm very curious to know, and if you're interested in showing me, you can hop on over to Juan the Yarn Addict and Friends It is a private Facebook group of mine where we share our makes. You just have to answer a few questions and the admins will let you in. And yeah, it's a group where, we share pictures of works in progress, we share finished objects, we support and uplift each other. If you have Crochet, it's a great place to come in and get some inspiration. It's a great group of people. We're 3,500 strong so far. And yeah, I'm super excited about that group of mine. It's great. Great group of people. So again, if you're interested, come on over, hang out with us. I do Facebook Lives. I try to do them once a week to just touch base with the group and hang out with everyone. So that typically happens on Friday evenings, somewhere in the realms of 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's kind of my normal go-to time frame for my Facebook Lives. But I've been known to change up, and if so, I'll let everyone know in the group, that it's been moved and whatnot. So, yeah. And last night, I had a Facebook Live, and it was a Saturday. See, it was one of those times where it wasn't on a Friday, it's a Saturday. And I don't know what happened. The conversation started in the squirrel's nest, and then it wound up where we took a field trip to my storage closet. We're in the storage closet, and I'm showing everyone my musical instruments, right? And so I show everyone my bass guitar and my mandolin and my ukulele and my violins, my violas and things. And then all of a sudden I just decided to pull one of my violins out. It sounded like it was kind of in tune, but it wasn't really. And I hadn't touched these violins in such a long time. Like, you have to warm up, Anyway, without warming up, I decided to play, a song. It's called Canon in D. And yeah, I just, it was very cringe for me anyway, because I am classically trained, and when you're classically trained, you're supposed to warm up before actually playing, but not me. I just decided to play, and it was fun, but watching it back was a little on the cringy side. I'm just being honest, but that's kind of what, you can come to expect, over there. It was someone's birthday, so I sang them happy birthday. Yeah, it was fun. Anyway, love that group. Love it. So, there is that. Now, I am going to make sure to keep my musical endeavors, well, it's not really an endeavor, anything like that off of the channel. I'll share that on Facebook in my private group. But, people ask, they're like, Juan, when are you going to play your violin? When are you going to do this? And I have to remind them, like, I am a yarn channel. It's not a variety channel, but, when we're in the moment and I happen to come across my instruments, of course, I can't say no. So, there is that. I do like this, Yep. I think 4 is nice, but I don't have 5 yet. And I feel like since we're further out, maybe I can get away with a 5th round. We'll see. I don't know yet. We're flying by the seat of our pants, Mr. Indecisive here. So, anyway, very off topic, I guess. Well, not off topic, but so I was on the Zoom call a little bit ago, and someone asked, what colorway goes good with the Red Heart Super Saver Ombre and Spearmint. And instead of just saying the colors, I went to the wall and I pulled I pulled the color down, and I'm like, these two, So look, I went like this, and then of course I pulled the skein that I thought went well with it, which is Amethyst Purple. So teal and purple. I mean, it's a great go-to. Now, it's technically not teal. It's more of a minty green, but it still goes, right? I think it goes very well together. Anyway, I think what we're going to do is I'm going to finish this round with you guys, and then we'll get into the other part of the video, which I'm excited about because the project that I am ripping today has been sitting here since the kit came in. I got the kit, I opened it up, I realized that I didn't have enough of the one colorway, so I went to Mary Maxim and I ordered more of the yarn. And while I was waiting for that order to come, I'm like, wait a minute, this is a 4-weight yarn, and you are suggesting this huge hook, like it was a letter M, crochet hook, and I'm like, okay, let's just do it. And yeah, anyway, I can't wait to get into that because I'm going to reuse the yarn, and again, we'll talk about that when the time comes. But the question is, how much further do I need to go before I get to, we still have a minute. We have a minute before we get there, but that's okay. This is single crochet chain, 1 single crochet. So I will definitely get to that other side before I know it. Now, I should have been disciplined enough to say to myself, okay, Juan, so for 20 minutes before bed, commit 20 minutes to crocheting onto this birthday blanket. So if I did 20 minutes a day and only did it Monday through Friday, that's an hour's worth of work that I have invested into the project. But, yeah, I didn't do that. I had it off to the side, out of sight, out of mind, and then I said to myself, you know what, Juan, eventually these WIPs are going to catch up with you. You're going to have to make a decision. And so when I saw this one, I'm like, there's no way that I'm ripping this. No way. Not after all the work we put ourselves through getting this yarn. I mean, we're talking eBay, we're talking Facebook Marketplace, stashes. You know, people were digging in their stash from yesteryear, you know. So I don't really have that many crocheters left in my family, but the ones that do crochet, you know, they had to go into their vault, you know, all the way in the back of the bins, in the back of the room, in the corner, in the dark, and find this for me. So when I got it, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is such a treat, you know. So, yeah, I'm very excited about the fact that everyone pulled together to help me get the yarns for this. So I owe it to them and I owe it to myself to complete it. So I will. Anyway, so I'm thinking for the upcoming week, I'm going to be doing another Whipping It with Juan session one of the days. I just can't recall which one. I think either Wednesday. Yeah, it's going to be Wednesday more than likely. I'm going to pull another whip, like a different whip, and work on it with you guys. And I'm probably going to do that for the full entire time. Oops, 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that, friends. I had a phone call and had to take that. So anyway, I'm having a squirrel moment. I can't remember what we were talking about, but that's okay. I am just gabbing at the gums. Actually, I need another sip of this coffee. So good. Okay. So yeah, I think I'm going to finish this round, which I believe is on the other side. So I have to finish this, come down and around, and then we're going to wrap up this portion of the video, which is the Whipping It with Juan. And then we're going to hop over to Ripping It with Juan. So if I have enough time, I do have another project to rip. But we'll see. I'm not exactly sure what this is going to look like because I haven't done this on camera before, where I am dismantling a project while talking about it. So this is fun. Anyway, the one thing that I do miss about working with variegated yarns when I'm on a solid is the color changes. You know, it keeps me interested. If I look at the same color for a long time, I get bored fast. I think that's why I love variegated yarn so much, in addition to like the actual color play. But yeah, if I have this same color on the hook for a long time, and by a long time I mean more than an hour, I get tired of it already. I'm like, what other color can I put on? And that's another reason why I crochet fast. Like, I do it on purpose because I want to hurry up and get to the next color. I don't know what that's about, but yeah, I have my hands trained to work very quickly through the yarn so that I can move on. Now, I know that it's not always going to be like this. I have a feeling that 20 years from now, when I'm ready to retire, my hands will not move as quickly as they do now. I'm hoping that muscle memory will have set in and that I won't even need to look at my work. I can just hold the stitches and know exactly where to point my hook. But that time is not right now. So I have to look down, just make sure my aim is correct, my stitches look nice and even, and then I can just move on, you know? So yeah, I'm really enjoying this process. Now, there are projects that I have that aren't as enjoyable as this, but I do love the work that I'm putting into it. So, for instance, I have this project. It is a corner to corner with Bernat blanket. You may have seen it. It's gray with like various shades of yellow. I'm looking at it now. It's 2 shades of yellow and a gray. So first of all, Bernat blanket does not glide as smooth as some of the other yarns on the hook, you know? So that part of it is a little bit on the frustrating end for me, which, you know, I love how the blanket is looking, but I'm not liking the process, you know? But I get it. It's my hook choice, it's my tension, it's how I'm working it up. You know, so I know a lot of it is user, but 100% polyester, you know, it's soft in theory, but working it up on the hook, it doesn't really glide as nicely as some of the other yarns do, but it does look nice. Now, if I could just remember where I put that WIP, actually it's in the squirrel's nest. We'll hold off on that. Anyway, the other UFO that I have sitting that needs to be ripped is a blanket that I purchased from Goodwill. Now, I bought a whole plethora, like a whole pile of blankets. And, I mean, pennies on the dollar. And the full intention of me grabbing those blankets was to rip them and to reuse those yarns. So I have about 40 inches, so a 40 by 40 square left. Now, instantly I thought, okay, Boggy Creek. But the problem is that it's a very holy 40 inches, and I wouldn't feel comfortable showing that, let alone sending it to Boggy Creek. So I'm going to frog that back and reuse the yarns, and I'm excited to get that finally done, because that blanket was larger than a king-size blanket. It was huge. So I finally got it down to 40 by 40, which is amazing. So there is that. Now we have just the corner to go, and then we can wrap this part up. So that's exciting. Now, in the near future, I have some things coming onto my channel, some projects and things. Now, I mentioned it on the live, and I've shown the yarns for my Wancho Poncho. It's been a thing in the works for a while now. Now, the design and everything is done. The yarn choice is done. So all I have to do now is sit down and put it together. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the poncho, write the recipe while I'm making it, and then when I do the tutorial, I'm going to do a smaller version of the Wancho Poncho and just walk everyone through the steps, because I am making this in such a way that once you learn the pattern, you can make it as wide as you want or as long as you want. And I will show you the process on how to put it all together, you know. So again, I have been talking about this Wancho Poncho for such a long time, and finally we're getting around to putting it all together, which is amazing. So there is that. Now I just have this little section left, and then we can move on. Now, if I was working on the variegated, I'd be like, let's do a couple more rounds, you know? But it's just gray. It's just gray. It's just a charcoal. Anyway, so I think with the Glimmer Throw, which is the project I'm planning on ripping, if I go to rework it, I'm probably going to follow the hook recommendation on the ball band because it didn't really match the recipe that came with it. I'll show you guys all the things, but I'm looking at it, it's down here. And yeah, I don't even mind the sparkle. I mean, it's sparkle, but you know, it is what it is. I do like the way it feels, which is nice. We're almost there. Okay, so once I get here, I'm going to place this on a brief pause. I'll pull up the project, we'll talk about it and do all the things. Okay, so just a few more stitches and we are done. Let me just join, slip, chain one, and flip. Let me just do one stitch to hold that in. Okay, fine, one more. Okay, dog ear. All right, I'm going to place this on a brief pause. I'll be right back, and we're going to rip it with Juan. 1 second. Okay, friends, so I am back, and so the very first UFO that I plan on ripping is this. So this is Mary Maxim's Quarterly Crochet Club package here. This is the Glimmer Throw, and to the best of my recollection, because I don't have the pattern here, it's somewhere, they suggest a letter M as in Mark crochet hook for a medium 4-weight yarn. This was intentionally supposed to be very loose and drapey. The problem with that is it's very hard to maneuver such a wide hook with such 4-weight yarn, if that makes any sense. So I decided right about this far into the project that I need to set this to the side and use a more appropriate hook for this project and maybe work it up with a smaller hook, same pattern, same design, same everything, but smaller hook. So I went ahead and ordered more of this yarn when this kit came out, but very quickly I learned that this colorway here is discontinued, and instead of this colorway they sent me a substitute color. So let me just show you the things. So this here is mustard. This is Mary Maxim Glimmer in mustard, and it's got the stellina in it, as you can see. Now they suggest, let me see if it's on here, they suggest a 5mm crochet hook. Okay, now 5mm by all accounts is an H. Okay, the pattern recommended a letter M. Just made no sense to me. Anyway, I was going to come down not necessarily to a 5, but I was going to jump down to a 6. So medium 4-weight yarn, 6mm crochet hook, that makes sense to me. Anyway, that's the first colorway. The discontinued colorway here is baby blue, which it reads more gray than blue, but I digress. There it is. And then the third colorway here is called lavender. So these are the 3 colors that they sent in the kit. Okay. And so I wound up ordering more yarn, which I still have in the bag. So this is the blue that they sent, which it says light blue. So baby blue, light blue. Huge difference. So I said, well, they didn't send me enough yarn to use for the smaller hook, but I think I ordered enough yarn to use this blue and not that blue. It was just so confusing. It was so confusing. So I ordered 4 balls of each. So then I said to myself, regardless of how this turns out, if I use a 6mm crochet hook and I just work the pattern, I'll have enough. Just keep the faith, keep going, all will be good. Well, my doubt got the better of me, and so I made the decision to not proceed any further with it. So I'm going to rip this and take all this yarn and put it towards another project. I don't know what that project is, but I'm going to pack it all up as fresh and available yarn to use. So I'm going to cut. There we go. And I'm going to take this. I will cake this up later. So there's that. And here we go. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to ball up all of this baby blue into one ball, the mustard into a smaller ball, and this lavender into its own ball, because I really don't have much of the lavender or the mustard used. So it's more of this baby blue than anything, and I think the baby blue was the hang-up. I'm like, why did you discontinue it and put it out in everyone's kit, you know? It just didn't make any sense to me because, you know, at some point, somewhere over at Mary Maxim, someone had to have known that we were going to order some more of this glimmer yarn, you know? Whether it was to make the blanket bigger or to hook down and, you know, tighten up our stitches. I mean, that's the only thing that I could think of. But now I have 12 in the one bag and 12 in the other bag. So I have 24 skeins altogether of this glimmer yarn. So I could create some sort of like Afghan and use all of this yarn. Now, there's not much yardage on these skeins to begin with. I think it's around 200. Let me see. So the yardage, what is the yardage on this? 191 yards. So, I mean, I have 24, so, okay, fine. It is a lot of yarn. So, 24 skeins, 200 each. That's 4,800 yards. But by all accounts, if I'm making a king-size blanket, I'm going to need all of it, you know? The only problem that I'm still faced with is I have 4 skeins of this baby blue and 4 skeins of this light blue, you know? So I'm just going to work it up and have it complement each other, if I even work it up. You know, I may just turn around and gift this to a subscriber or a member, you know. I don't necessarily need to keep this, especially if someone out there has a better idea for the yarn. I don't know, we'll see. Stay tuned. Okay, so we are now onto the mustard. I'm going to put this in the dragon. Now we only have one stripe of this mustard, which is nice. I can just ball this up into a small little ball and put it with the other mustard that I have there, which is nice. So, and I think if I were to start up this project, I would use up the balls first, you know, before jumping into the skeins and things. So there's that. Come on, Juan. Part of the issue with this project as well is when you're working with such a big hook and you have a yarn that has stellina in it, you wouldn't think that it would get caught up, but I was constantly getting this stellina caught in between the stitches and my hook. It didn't flow right for whatever reason, and I think it's more user error than anything. I think I was just uncomfortable using such a big hook for such a thin yarn. Now I could have doubled it up. I would have stuck with that hook if I had 2 4-weight yarns running together. To me, that would make sense. But just one strand with such a thick hook, it didn't make sense to me. Anyway, so if I decide to pick this back up and rework it into another project, another idea I have is, I know, groundbreaking, granny squares. just do a whole series of granny squares, enough to do a very nice size blanket, and take whatever's left and donate it, you know, because this is a lot of yarn by all accounts. So there's that. This yellow does feel nice. Now they all feel nice. Who am I? Who am I kidding? The yarn does feel nice. And I know I've heard great things from people on the YouTube streets about this yarn, which is also reassuring and nice, you know. So I don't remember how much each skein was when I made the purchase, but I do know that they had quite a bit when I placed this order. The only colorway I thought was discontinued was this blue. So I should check. So the yellow is done, and now we are going to take care of this baby blue very quickly, which is super nice. Let me just do this very quickly. Okay. And honestly, this is such a relief for me. You know, knowing that I counted 42 WIPs, which by all accounts does include my UFOs, it's a relief knowing that this is just another one that I get to say is off the hook. You know, I don't have to worry about finishing it. I don't have to worry about deadlines. I don't have to worry about ordering any more of this yarn. I'm not a huge fan of the glitz and the stellina. I mean, it's nice, but it's not something that I gravitate towards. But it was nice trying it while I had it. So who knows? I may actually pull up another project with glitz or stellina in it. You know, it's just not my go-to. You know, I'm more of like earthy jewel tones and, you know, dark umber colors. Think forest, you know. Foresty colors with like the browns and the greens and the grays. But ultimately my favorite color is dark purple, which is odd for someone who loves jewel tones. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know if you've seen one of my latest videos, but I did showcase this yarn that I picked up at a local yarn store. It literally had Juan and a Hank. It was just so nice to look at. Like, I'm recording the local yarn store and my eyeballs just kept gravitating towards these yarns. And, you know, it's like, take me home, take me home. I never had that happen before. Like, I was so enamored by the colorway and, yeah, I was inspired. I had to have it. Okay, so where are we at? Now we're at the lavender, which is nice. Let me just go ahead and snip this off. I need to make sure I'm snipping the correct portion of this off. Perfect. So we will set that there, and we will start on this lavender. Now I only have one strand of this lavender. This is where we're at so far. So I'm going to take this purple off, and then I'm going to take this, I keep wanting to call it gray. It looks like gray to me. You know, it's so bizarre. Anyway, based on the time that I'm looking at here, we may not have enough time to rip the second project that I have down here, but that's okay because we're going to save it for another video. And I actually think that I may be doing this as well as a whole sessions thing, because I do love working on my WIPs, but I also like the idea of, you know, cleaning my plate with all of these UFOs and things, you know. I don't think I need to do like an entire hour of ripping out yarn and things, but just long enough to talk about it, you know, talk about some plans that I have for the yarns, and then let that be it, you know. So, at any rate, if you enjoyed this kind of video, let me know in the comments if you think that this is something that you like to watch. I mean, I have all the WIPs, right? I have wearables that I need to take apart. I have blankets that are almost finished, but I'm never going to get that yarn again, and nothing else looks right with it. So you know, I have plenty of projects that just have to come off the hook. I can't keep it there. And I don't want to settle for anything less than, you know, anything I'm happy with. So, yeah. Super excited to experience all of that with you guys. And, you know, for those of you guys who, you know, may opt for an entire Whipping It with Juan session, I'm still going to do those. You know, they're not going anywhere. So this is just something else to watch, you know, which is fun for you and for me and for us. So it's a win-win, win-win-win. Yes, it is. And I will tell you, just a side note, these trebles are very loose trebles. I mean, they're just very loose. I'm like, I was making them and I'm like, are they supposed to be this loose? Like, I get it, it's a treble, but a loose treble, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of the loose treble. If it's going to be a loose stitch, let's make it a little smaller. Keep it loose and smaller, you know? I don't know. At any rate, we're almost done this purple strip here, or lavender. So let's just pull this back, do a little snippety snip, just like that. Put the lavender there, grab this, and this is the last portion. After this, the project will be officially off the hook. I love that idea. Let's tie that up. Okay, so the only thing that I worry about when I do things like this is when it's all done and I ripped it all out and, you know, it's off the hook. I say to myself, should I have done that? I say, did I just make a mistake by pulling all of that out? You know, I always doubt myself, and I don't know why, because I feel like there's always a way to fix something. You know, you should never have to rush to rip the entirety of whatever you're working on apart. But the truth is that not everything is meant to be a completed object. Maybe I needed to have this happen to make a future project make sense, you know? At least that's the reasoning that I have in my head. You know, I feel like some things that we do in our crochet journey just aren't meant to be completed objects. Maybe they're just experiences, you know, maybe just things that, you know, we needed to have on our hook to have that experience so that later on down the line when we actually have something worth working on, we can complete it. We know what it's going to look like, you know, or if we have someone ask us a question about what it is that they're working on, and we know because we went through that, you know, just, I guess it's building experience. So, yeah, I'm grateful for the experience of this. Will I be making this glimmer throw again? Absolutely not. Nope. You know, a chevron would look really good with this yarn. Just saying. But yeah, we're almost at the end. I'm on the last row. Super exciting. So anyway, friends, as I said in the beginning, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. If you are, that's great. I love that. Thank you so much for your support. So yeah, here we are at the end. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like, leave a comment or two. Let me know, you know, any and all things that you want to let me know. I do read the comments. I thoroughly enjoy them, actually. So, there we have it. So here is the ripped project, the UFO. Okay? And this was the kit. And this was the add-on yarn. So now I'm just going to rework everything into one bag, and who knows what the future holds for this. Maybe a chevron, as I mentioned, or maybe a gift to a viewer of the channel. Who knows? But stay tuned, my friends. So that is all I have for this video. If you enjoyed it, you heard me say all the things, hit the like button, Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, and all the things. Okay? So that is all for this one, and until the next one, guys, take care. Bye.